Before anybody start having the conversation of your sitting president being a drug lord, a forged result and all those things, before they start cooking that story for you, whoever wants to have that conversation with you, or whoever table the conversation, before you go deeper with them, irrespective of your tribe, your candidates, your party, or your political opinion, tell them to have the conversation of Nadeko 49 first with you. Tell them to give you full depth story of what Nadeko 49 was all about. You understand? Then you can now use your own ideology, initiative, your thinking, and your intuition to picture what might have gone wrong. Let me tell you something about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that most of you don't actually know. He was a senator that was still working more like an activist, because the military regime wanted the Senate trapped. So he was representing the West as a senator, and General Sani Abacha, of his late memory, was not going to allow the whole Senate gathering thing, you understand? And that was where the problem started from. And you know how, if you're a product of the generation I grew up with, you'll understand that freedom of speech was never free, because it was military regime, and the ideology of not having the Senate would have affected a lot of things, because I feel like then it was a regional thing, the way our district was structured. I think back in 1992 or something to 1993, when Abacha wanted to dissolve it. I can't really recollect the whole story, but I still have the idea of it. So they were not going to allow it. They were threats to Abacha. I've said these things times without numbers. So they were threats to Abacha. There were loads of them, because it was a regional thing. It was a regional idea where everybody have to like drop people, you understand? So he was the senator from the western part of the country, and there are some other prominent names, not just Igbos, and not just Yoruba. There are other Igbos, Hausa, strong people. But Asiwaju, being who he is, being a good strategist, it was the threat. So during military regime then, people's life, when you antagonize a certain military government, your life is just like a life of a stray chicken that got killed by the speeding car, or by a speeding car. Let me just use that. So it wasn't really a thing for you to stand against these people, you understand? So the activism in him was there. He was a vibrant and articulate person, well educated and all of that. Product of MK Abiola as well, if you look at it from another angle. So everybody ran for their lives. You need to understand that him running for his life, being in abroad, being someone that likes fighting for the people like then, back then. So it was important for them to make sure they don't have any means of finance. And Tinubu has one or two means of finance. So they need to come up with something. Remember, there's a bilateral relationship between Nigeria and US. So I felt something played. And that what played was, US can't do anything to Tinubu. They can't ask him to come to Nigeria on Abacha's order. They need to maintain the relationship between our government and their government. So what do? Let's put him in prison. Let us make sure he doesn't have access to money. US, we are not going to give you, Nigerian government, these guys, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but we are going to find a way around it. So accusation and allegation of Tinubu being a drug dealer sets in. But the question all of you refuse to ask yourself is this: how can a Nigerian guy be so powerful to go to Chicago? Look at the timing of when he traveled to Chicago when he was having crisis. He didn't travel to Chicago when he wasn't having crisis. He didn't travel to Chicago when life was good. He traveled to Chicago when the conversation of Nadeko must be splitted and Senate must be disassembled and all those things. So how can someone that is not a citizen of US be more stronger? So do you know what it means to be a drug lord? Now let me explain to you. A drug lord means you run a cartel. You run a cartel. You are like the main guy. A drug dealer is just the guy that owns the block. A drug dealer is even still richer. Drug dealers owns the block. You hear from Kinikon to Shatown to Kinikon, from Allison Park to Kinikon Avenue. They are the one, all the dealers, all the boys selling there, peddling. They are doing the old streets whatsoever. They are all delivering to them. So how can you say someone like a drug lord or a drug baron like Tinubu, all they could find in his account was $420,000 and he forfeited it? Don't you understand what it means to even be a drug lord in your neighborhood, to be controlling all the blocks? You know how much you want. How can they see something from a drug lord, but properties were not involved? How many houses, how many blocks, how many things was in Tinubu's name in US? Because for you to be a drug lord in the US, that means you shovel the US often. You need to check on your investments now, won't you? And that means you need a house where you can always, how many properties was affiliated or associated to Achiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu? I am saying this so that all of you can understand that without propaganda, politics can't thrive. So they will start this. This is going to, because last election they started late, so it didn't key in. So now they are going to start early. That's why you hear someone like that, Miss Crown, that calls herself Mama P, shouting, "How can you let a drug dealer this, that?" They need to amplify it earlier, so that you people can actually think that, oh, the president actually fled the country for the freedom of you people, because the military regime, the military government was never to be messed with. So all of them fled the country. That's why you hear the statement of what's it called, Uncle Dele Momodu, when he said Asiwaju saw maybe 3,000 pounds or whatsoever, and it was looking like 300 million, because they had to freeze accounts, forfeit everything, because they know it will still be funding this freedom, this speech. They needed media, so they will be funding media there in Nigeria, media in the UK, BBC UK, CNN, and all those top media companies. They know they'll be funding them, and the international body will be aware. So to cut that funding, there was a negotiation that went on. You know what? You are going to forfeit this money. Just leave these people. If you want your life, you don't want anything. A man that left the country to fight for his people and still came back to that country, you want to compare him to all these miscreants? Is it Bokoju activists you want to compare him to? Is it? I see. For now, I never see any candidates say, I don't care about how many people they stand for streets. And I go soon go look for one small pikin. We go stand in front of Caterpillar this time. And I never buy oven for people. You can't discredit. See, we know the history of Asiwaju in one way or the other. You can't discredit a man that has a track record. If it was easy, why was Peter Obi not part of Nadeko? So this was a man that has actually been fighting for the freedom of the country. He was born for it. So all of you can cook all sort of agenda. But don't come to me if you have never made a sacrifice for this country. If there has never been a time in your life as someone that claims to be a patriot of this country, if there has never been a time in your life whereby you fled, you ran away from a government that wants to dissolve or disassemble something that is constitutionally right for us as Nigerians. Don't come and talk to me about one stupid candidate that all his reference all his life is China and China. When China went to China, I was in China in 2000 and China. Don't come and give us some dumb bad story that doesn't fit in when it comes to talking about a charismatic leader that is fluent, articulate, well packaged, well put together, that commands respect, that aura oozes all over his body. When he talks, you can clearly tell that you are talking to an intellect. Don't be one, nah, just put me there first. Just put me there first. You will say, I will make sure cover tontonera. Just put me there first. We don't need a trader with Alaba or myself or Yanosashi or Oja Oba orientation. No, we need someone that can speak good English, that can represent us, that that has meaningful ideology, that can put it on record, that can, say it fact by fact, stat by stat, and everything. Analytics prompto, not someone that they are supposed to be there. If Itobi have his way, he will tell them not to do election. If all those miscreants, if they have their way, they will say they don't want election. They should just put it. Like, if they do, I'm like, say, make they just talk. Make Tinubu just call them. So you are going rule for 2 years. Don't come and talk to you. Don't talk about Tinubu when you can't even go deeper with the story of Nadeko regarding what he had to. If he didn't just forfeit 420, he forfeited seeing his family, he forfeited seeing his loved ones, and he was still fighting while he was still outside of the country. Note, this is not just Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There are still other prominent members which we appreciate, which we are going to say a big shout out to, even if we don't know most of them name offhand. But there are prominent people that has once risked their life for the betterment of this country, and some of them you might see them in Tinubu's chamber in his parliament presently, not because they are his party, but they are people that he felt, if you've been in this struggle for long, you are a compatriot Nigerian, your heart is pure. It's as simple as that. Yeah, politics is a dirty game. I understand that. It is only a miscreant. It is only one idiot that is getting gassed up by Gen Z and internet people that will be saying, no, these are, nobody should say politics is not dirty. Politics is a dirty game. If you're a good person, you must learn to fight dirty, meaning you could chop anybody's eyes for your people. And Asiwaju has done that the moment he came in. The subsidy removal and all that stuff he has done. Chop anybody's eyes. That is the dirty part of a good person when they want to fix. And even a bad person self will still want to fix. So people we go disturb them in a way we say go fix. The people are buying to call democracy president. We want to pay now one naira in the commot from one subscription for MTN. So imagine numbers of people where they use MTN. Make one person come they comot 1 naira on each of our recharge. Imagine waiting the person don't carry go. All now they use on our sense. Go back to history. Read books. Internet is your friend. Don't even use ChatGPT because ChatGPT can never give you history. It can only give you, surface intel on whatsoever you're researching on. Go far.